Hey everyone, Gaijin Goombah.
And Anita.
And, well, we thought it would be important if we did our own little, I guess not review, but more of a response to the tropes versus women thing, because a lot of people, well, not a lot, but some people at least have been asking me my opinion on it. Now, I already went on this kind of long tyrant on a personal reaction that really didn't have much to do with the content, but was more of just basically me saying how I was jealous that Anita got like $160,000 to do her project when I'm working 2 jobs, doing my show, and not many people have been throwing money at me. And yes, that's trivial and stupid, but I'm human and I can't really help that. But again, if you want to see that, check out my Twitter or Facebook or even DeviantArt.com, because I took a long time to put that in. So let's talk about just our natural reactions to it, not about the situation itself. So, what do you think, hon?
I'm still trying to figure out exactly the point that she's trying to make. Is she saying that the whole damsel in distress formula, is she saying that it's sexist? I personally don't see it as such. It makes sense. Okay, males watching this, if you are. Look at your woman, your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife, and think how you want her to see you. Do you want her to see you as this weak, little, pathetic being who, if something bad happens, can't protect her? Or do you want her to see you as the protector, the big, strong man, the one that she can come to with her problems? That's kind of where this whole damsel in distress thing, I feel, kind of comes from. I mean, dating back, like she even said that this dates back to thousands of years with literature and everything in ancient Greece. I mean, touch on Greece, they're kind of crazy. But males have always been, I guess, the stronger gender. I'm sure feminists are going to be like, but genetically it makes sense. That's what the testosterone does. You build bigger muscle mass. You're usually bigger size-wise. It makes sense for men to be the defender, to be the one in charge of being the protector, to go and saving his woman, not really as an object of desire or property, but just like, it's just this response that you see someone in danger and you're just like, I need to help them because that's what I am programmed to do.
Oh, and for the record, really quick, as some people may not know how much of a hardcore gamer you actually are, tell them what you did a couple days ago just to kind of prove your worth.
You mean yesterday at 4:27 p.m. Central Time? Yeah, I finally beat Castlevania.
The first one.
Yeah. I was like, kill Dracula. I went, yes! And my cat's looking at me like...
That cat, by the way, that you can see back there.
Yeah, she actually looked up just like that at me like, fuck you, no.
Hey, language.
Sorry. That's the look that she gave me.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, digressing. Hi, honey, if you're watching.
Take a minute. Let me kind of chime in a little bit here. I want to ask the women real quick 2 questions. So actually, first of all, I want to make this overarching statement. I like what Anita does. I like that she's very methodical about it. The problem is, this information feels really, really dated. Really dated. I want you guys to name me at least 10 AAA games, like current AAA games, where your primary objective is saving a woman. Because I don't think you can. I sure as heck can't. Because we've evolved beyond that. Yes, sexism in games are still there, but I question that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I mean, think about it, guys. Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty,
God of War.
God of War. You do bang chicks in that, but I mean, it's not the central focus. But it's not the central focus. You have different objectives. We focus on different objectives now. We are saving the world, not a woman, because even as gamers, we understand that whole thing's been done to death. I want to ask you something, guys. if you go back and play Mario 3, or any of the Mario games for that reason, the core games as they were put, do any of you even really care about saving Peach? Really? When you play the game, do you even care about saving Peach? Is that your empowerment? I don't. Even when I was 6 playing the game, I was like, wait, Peach? And when I finally saved her, I was like, it's kind of ugly. Why did I do this again? We care.
Good security system.
You gotta quit swearing here.
Go.
I apologize ahead of time. I try to keep it at least PG, but I don't know if that's gonna happen with this one around. But I mean, we don't care about the women, and that's not what you might think that is. We cared about the gameplay. When we retro gamers beat a game, and she can attest to this, because she just did, the biggest sensation that you get is completing the challenge, not getting the girl. We don't care about the girl. We just didn't, because that wasn't the initiative. The initiative was completing this giant puzzle of a game and doing it effectively. The other thing, too, is I would argue that now more than ever, women have more power in games than they ever have. Look at Bayonetta. Freaking look at even, like, not Dead or Alive, but, like, characters like Ayane, especially when it comes to Ninja Gaiden 3, the re-release. She's a main playable character.
Super Princess Peach.
Yeah, so even Super Princess Peach. Women are getting more and more roles of main characters in games now. Yes, they're over-sexualized, but girls, I got a big question to ask you. Don't you want to be sexy? Don't you want to be hot? Don't you want to turn men's heads? Is that not an objective that women have?
Well, it makes sense genetically. Whenever you're hot and sexy and attractive, that sends the message that your genes are good and you're gonna produce viable offspring.
I mean, these female characters are not weak at all. Bayonetta kills a god. A god! Aside from Kratos, how many characters can you count that have killed a god? And Jubilee is a pretty powerful god. In fact, it takes, what, like 3-4 different... I know you haven't beaten it yet, but it takes like 3 or 4 different points in the boss battle to finally kill her, god person. And I don't know. But I mean, even still, the one thing that kind of bothered me about Tropes vs. Women, complete a mission of Samus. And I understand that Samus nowadays is not looked favorably because of the whole Metroid Other M thing when she's completely under the heel of men. But you have to take that in perspective. Before that time, the time that she's predominantly talking about, Samus was the badass. She was, in old retro gaming, she was one of the biggest badasses, period. Because she was in a desolate, lonely environment with no other men, no other women, nothing to help her. And she kicked butt. She blew up planets. She destroyed civilizations. And apparently that wasn't brought into account. And that really bothered me.
I was hoping that she somehow covers it in the second one. I know that she said that she was going to touch on the Super Princess Peach thing. Super Princess Peach really was a pretty good platform. I really liked it. Yeah, your powers were your over-exaggerated emotions, but it was kind of, I guess, Carrie-esque.
Yeah, it really was.
Like, when you get super, super angry, you would set things on fire. That was actually pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. Like, I played a little bit of it too, and it was a really good game, and you saved Mario. Even, I would argue that some Mario games even now, no, they're not part of the core, but define core for me, okay? If we're talking about, if we're just talking about platformers, the only reason Peach is captured is because of not history, but I honestly want to say consistency. Because, like I said before, even we as gamers are getting sick of rescuing her and want to see her taking a more proactive role, like she did in the RPGs and Super Princess Peach. Yeah. We want to see more of that because it's more interesting. We're sick of the damsel in distress. guys, I want you to comment. Please tell me if you still enjoy saving helpless women, or if you're just really sick of it, because I personally think we're sick of it. Again, going back to AAA games, we're not saving women anymore, with a handful of exceptions. Like, oh, what's that Suda51 game? Not Darkness Falls, but that's part of it, where you're going around saving. You know which one, and you guys know which one. Yeah, you're basically saving your girlfriend, but man, there's so much going on that kind of becomes the last thing you really think about. And again, going back to retro gaming, it was one of the last things that we honestly thought about, because it was irrelevant, because we cared more about the game. We didn't care about saving the woman. So that's enough for me, so go ahead. I know you got more. Keep going.
Does that have to?
Yes.
Why?
Because people are interested.
Okay. What are we talking about? Okay. With the whole damsel in distress thing, a little more serious. If you, I watched Taco Man's little parody response on it, and awesome, by the way. And he actually, aside from the comedy and everything, to take that out, he actually has a very good point. I mean, if it's sexist to have females as the damsel in distress, is it not sexist to constantly force the male character to be the rescuer? I mean, it can seriously go both ways in that. But don't sit there and tell me that women don't want to be rescued by their men, by their love interest. Look at romance novels. Have you guys ever read female pornography? That's really what it is.
Or freaking look at Twilight, for crying out loud.
Twilight.
This household.
But no, it's Twilight. It's the whole Mary Sue story. The main character is so bland that anybody can be put into a position. Same thing goes with video games. Link doesn't, he's the hero of time, but as far as that, he doesn't have like this personality or this whole big backstory. His name, Link, is literally the link between you and the game. It is you that is the hero, not this male character. Yeah, that's the avatar that they give him, but he's wearing a tunic dress. Come on.
Actually, people would argue that Link has to do with the original concept of the game being time travel.
Yeah, that too.
Link between
God, that'd be awesome.
It would have made for a far more interesting game, but it was still good. But I mean, no, she's got a point. Like, when we... It's... Anita used the term, like, what was it? Not power trip?
Power fantasy?
Power fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it's a power fantasy.
Don't think it... Yeah, I'm with her. I don't think it's necessarily a power fantasy because it's a game. We play games because they're fun to play, not because... Now, there are some exceptions. Like the old fantasy games, perhaps, but shoot, look at fantasy now. Look at Skyrim, and I just picked that up, and she can tell you I've been pretty much attached to it, and I'm getting away from it. But I mean, in Skyrim, not a single damsel I found that's in distress. The only damsel in distress that I found were one of those, like, bird witch things. I don't even know their name. But it's this scraggly hag of a bird/old woman. And all she wanted me to do was let her out of her cage so she could take back her tower. And yeah, if anyone out there is watching this that plays Skyrim, you know what I'm talking about. But seriously, I'm 30 hours in. I have not seen a single woman in distress. Not one. In fact, the default helper that you get essentially is a female, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah, when you become I think a thing. I think it was a thing.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Jarl Thane. It's fine. But I'm just saying, it's not there anymore. This whole concept of power fantasy men saving women, it's not there as much. I mean, just real quick, what's your take on the whole Bayonetta lollipop chainsaw thing, where the women are overly sexualized, obviously, but they're still very powerful and they're the main characters?
I like them. I haven't gotten a chance to play Lollipop Chainsaw. I've Lollipop Chainsaw. Played some of Bayonetta. Yeah, Bayonetta is like really oddly proportioned, but I find the character absolutely hilarious. I mean, yeah, over-sexualized, I guess you can say, but I'm sorry, but developers are getting smart. They're figuring out, yeah, we do have quite a few video gamers who are female, and they're catering to us. Devil May Cry 4, the first fight between Nero and Dante, there's a big fangirl moment, and I about had a nosebleed. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's where they jump in the air and Nero's like, oh look, I'm gonna wrap my legs around your waist. Oh yeah, I about passed out. It was hot. No one sit there and tell me that males cannot be over-sexualized. They can, you just have to do it. Female fangirls, fan fiction, they do it all the time. It's just easier to do it with a female, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Well, and the last thing too, and I guess it's going to be the last thing I want to contest at this point, is that video games, even since their beginning, have been a business. You have to keep that in mind, and again, something Anita doesn't point out is that, or even if she didn't do it very well, is that Nintendo was trying to sell games. Girls weren't playing, with some exceptions, of course. Girls weren't the primary demographic that they were trying to sell to. They needed to make money. It's a business.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to get... Look at Axe commercials, for crying out loud. They're the most stupid, retarded thing I've ever seen, especially now with that whole astronauts beat everything thing. But you gotta understand, it's a business. They're trying to make their business appealing to men, and the best and easiest way to do that is taking the simplistic approach of making them attractive to women. Does it work? No. Is it offensive? Yes. But does it make sense? Well, I guess sadly it does.
It makes sense.
It's just... I don't know what else there is to say besides that. It's a business. If you don't target your demographic, how are you going to make money? And that's really what it all boils down to. Even everything now, the debacle with EA and microtransactions, the debacles with Capcom and on-disc DLC. It's a business. I don't like it. I don't encourage it. And in fact, I purposely don't buy certain games from certain companies because I hate their practices. But it's a business. That's just how it is. So, anything more you want to add to this?
I need more coffee.
Fair enough. So really, that's just about it. This whole... I like what she's trying to do, but I don't see the point in it. Because she's raking up old history, and when trying to talk about the newer stuff, when talking about how Zelda's taking a more proactive role with every game but still getting captured, I think really all this is done for the sake of tradition, and not because it's a power fantasy. I don't think it is. We play these games, and guys, do correct me if I'm wrong. We play these games because of the gameplay, and they're fun, and even the story. It's not about getting a power fantasy, tripping out, dominating over women, and it's just... That's pretty much it. Women are slowly getting a more proactive role in games, but you have to understand that the main demographic for games are still men. When that changes, everything else will as well. We'll have less DOA, and we'll have more, I guess you could call it Lollipop Chainsaw with less sexualization in it, but women, in my opinion, now more than ever, have more power in games than they ever have before. And I think it's time that we start to recognize that a little bit. Yes, there's still the injustice of over-sexualization, but we both made the point that we kind of want it, and not for the opposite gender, for the same gender. As men, we want to be muscle-bound, strong, and powerful because that's our genetics. That's how we want to be. For women,
sexy, attractive, and nowadays it's like a lot more guys are wanting a hot girl who could kick his ass.
Yeah,
but
I can attest to that.
Hey, I caught myself.
I'm very proud of you, dear.
Yeah, I'm learning.
But I mean, that's just the point. And I know this has gone on for 20 minutes, and that's probably as long as it needs to be, but that's just it. It just feels dated and unnecessary. It's good research, but but the presentation is dry as a saltine cracker, and it's just really kind of dated. We're really arguing about N64 and even as far as GameCube era situations with females, because it's not like that anymore. I don't think it is.
With the whole feminist argument, debate, gender roles and stuff, let it go and move on. Seriously, that's the only way we're gonna get anything else done. Male and females. Get over it.
What she said. Anyway, I think that's all we got for now. So this is Gaijin Goombah.
And Anita.
Signing out.
Now.